Do you have a business that serves your local community? Are you trying to take your business to the next level? Do you struggle to understand your business numbers? Well, stop working harder thinking you're going to make more money. That's not how it works. Each week, we go over how to understand and leverage your business numbers to not only create more sales, but more importantly, how to create more profits. Remember, it isn't about how much you sell. It's about how much you keep at the end of the day. My name is Tammy, and I'm on a mission to help badass business owners like yourself put more money in your pocket. So whether you're a badass or a badass in the making, let's get this party started. Hey there, badass business owners. Welcome back to the show. All right, so I'm going to do something a little different this week. As you know, for the last 3 weeks, we've been breaking down the E-Myth Revisited. For today's episode and later this week's episode, I'm actually going to put the book on pause for 1 week. Don't worry, we are going to come back because we're going to start getting into processes a little bit more and some things that you can do, some tricks. So we will get into that in next week. But for this week, there's a couple topics that have been kind of brewing that I realize I want to touch on them. So for today, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about competition. During my conversations with a lot of different folks, it seems like for whatever reason, we get very focused on our competitors and what it is that they are doing. And that can be very dangerous. It's healthy and it's dangerous at the same time. And I thought it's worth kind of putting a little bit in perspective. I've watched a lot of people hold their own business back because they are so worried and so focused on what their competitors in their local market are doing. Listen, you're never going to be able, at least in the next year or so, you're not going to be able to compete, with those really big companies that have a fleet of trucks or a huge brick and mortar business. It doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to compete head to head necessarily with those types of competitors. So just forget about it. You don't have the money to spend that they do. You don't have the name recognition that they do in most cases, but you have something better than what they have. One, you're assuming people want to use these big people. They don't. Two, you can offer more localized, specialized, hands-on, face-to-face value, customer service, and quality, and the fact that you're there if they ever have a problem, and they don't have to deal with some cold answering service, or they don't have to deal with somebody who's out of the area that they ship over to do something. So you need to play up your strengths of what it is that you do offer versus getting hung up on these bigger companies. And by the way, you'll be amazed at how many people have local businesses that can compete head to head and actually probably do more business in the local community than some of those big places. We just happen to notice those big places because you're getting their advertising in your mail. You're seeing their trucks because they do a great job with advertising what it is that they do. So they seem like they're everywhere, even though they might just be driving around, and you're assuming they're at a bunch of different places. So other than the Amazon little van that goes through the neighborhood, they're really not hitting as many houses as you think they're hitting in your neighborhood. So please do not let the big box, the big companies, the big name brands get in the way of you thinking that you can't build your business and you can't grow your business because of them. So that's one type of competitor that gets into your head. The second type of competitor that typically gets in your head is because you happen to notice that maybe you've kind of niched down your business a little bit and you see someone else has come in and they want to do the same thing and they want to offer the same thing that you do. But once again, somebody can copy every single thing they do, every single thing that you do. But here's the one thing they can't duplicate. They can't duplicate you. They can't duplicate what you offer. They can't, as far as as a person, they can't duplicate what it is with your service level. They can't duplicate your heart. They can't duplicate the way that you communicate, the way you engage with your community, and everything else. So don't get hung up on the fact that somebody else is doing what it is that you're doing or going after that same customer. It really comes down to your hustle and what you do. Matter of fact, I heard a story the other day where somebody was all hung up for months about this competitor, only to find out later they bumped into that competitor, and that competitor's like, oh my gosh, business has been horrible. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to grow it. And it really put the person back on their feet, because they're like, oh my God, I've been so busy. What do you mean that you're not busy? And all this time, this person has been in their head, which has caused this business owner to hustle and go after every single sale and to make things happen. And it turned out that this business owner was even more successful than this competitor that they've been giving all this worry to. It turns out the competitor didn't know how to drum up business, didn't know how to keep business, didn't know how to cultivate business, didn't know how to grow their business. And meanwhile, the person I'm talking to is having one of the best years they've ever had. And once again, you don't know what's going on in that competitor. Because here's another thing that tends to happen. A lot of times what we don't know is that they're struggling financially behind the scenes. Because you guys are badass business owners, you're learning how to create and turn those sales into profits, right? That's one of the big themes we talk about here, is how do we create more profits? How do we put more money to the bottom line? Well, guess what? If you have another competitor who's out there who might be looking good, might be bringing in tons of sales, we all know that more sales does not equal more profit. So they might be out there creating all kinds of sales coming in, but there's no money at the end of the day. All right, we see this in big businesses as well. Okay, Walmart was doing tons of sales, but they were also figuring out how to make tons of profit. But then you have all of these big stores that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. They were bringing in $1 million as well, but none of it was making it to the bottom line, which is why, for example, Kmart, which also was a discount place, they were bringing in tons of sales, but none of it was making it to the bottom at the profitability. So don't get hung up on your competitors, because you never know how well they're running their business behind the scenes. So as long as you continue to really understand your business numbers and how to take that money to the bottom line, the better it is for you. Because if you have 10 sales, but you get to make $3,000, they might have 20 sales, but they're only making $2,000. I'll take your business making 10 sales, making that 3,000 any day over 20 sales, only making 2. Not only are they working twice as hard as you, they're not making as much money. So once again, do not get hung up on that competitor that is in your head. You do you. You've got to stop letting them control how it is that you think and what it is that you do. And by the way, if you ever want a great employee down the road, go find somebody who had a business and they weren't quite able to get it going. You might find that they'd rather fold and come work for you as a crew leader, as a shift leader, as somebody that can help you grow your business. And even if most cases, they don't want to really learn how to run a business, which is why they were struggling and why it caved in. If they really wanted to run a business, they would have went out there and tried to find a way to run it better. And if they didn't, it's not like you're going to give them your secrets or anything like that, because once again, they don't do you. They can't be you. So the odds of them turning around and restarting a business is very low. So I'm not saying all of them, but every once in a while, an ex-competitor can become a fabulous employee for your business, because they've turned out they loved what it is that they do. They hated the business side of it. So by coming to work for you, they get to do what they love and do it in a way that's similar, because they obviously like the way that you did it, but they hated the business side, if you will, of running that business. Now, another thing I want you to keep in mind with your competitors, and I've talked about this in the past, is don't focus on everything that your competitor is doing wrong. You need to focus on what your competition is doing well, because it gives you key insight on how you can tweak your business so that you can increase your customers, increase your sales, increase your profits. There's something they're doing that makes you go, wow, man, they're really good at that. And use them to springboard yourself into running a better business. Your competition isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes they can give you some fantastic insights on running a better business. You might come across, for example, even an ad that they do that you pick up and you're like, oh wow, that's good. That's really good. I need to do so. What did they do that got your attention? What grabbed you? And it probably was the way that they attacked the pain point that the customer had, which is how they got it. It wasn't because it was fancy or anything else. It just pulled at those heartstrings, which got people to call them. And if you can go, wow, okay, that makes me realize I need to up my game on how I'm going to communicate what it is, what pain points I solve. So your competitors can be a lot of motivation in a lot of different ways. So if you're using it for healthy motivation, I don't have a problem with you focused on your competition. But if you're going to let your competition get in your head and actually slow you down and actually get you to where you're afraid to take certain steps, or you're afraid that they're going to copy something, or if you come from a place of being afraid or scared or worried or focused on your competition, guess what? That means you're not focused on who you should be focused on, which is your customer. You're not focused on your customer, and you sure the hell aren't focused on your business. So don't be focused in putting all of your energy into the wrong people. There's always going to be competition. Competition is healthy. If you didn't have competition, you wouldn't up your game. So welcome competition because it keeps you on your toes. Competition is a good thing. It can be irritating. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But you can't let it have you run your business scared. You can't let competition let you make really stupid mistakes out of fear for the wrong thing. So I felt this conversation needed to be had. For those long-term listeners, know that when I have something come up 2-3 times in a week, it means I'm supposed to talk about it. And because this has been a theme this week, it definitely was something we needed to talk about. So if you are having any kind of issues with competition or you can't seem to get them out of your head, feel free, shoot me an email, Tammy@localsmallbusinesscoach.com, Tammy, Tammy @localsmallbusinesscoach.com. Just get it all out, put it all in writing and send it over to me. If you want some encouragement, I'll shoot it back going, let it go. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this one up. But I just really wanted to take a few minutes and say that if you are hung up on your competitors, whether they're big, they're small, they're local, they're not local, whatever the case may be, they are not your problem. Use them as motivation. Remember, they don't have you. Learn what they do well and how can you springboard from that and make it even better. And if they're horrible at something, take advantage of it. Hop on it. Use it against them to improve your business even more. But the biggest thing is don't let them get in your head. That's the biggest thing I need to make sure that you don't do, because it will hold you back and it will hold you from growing your business. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Nice, short, and sweet today. And hope you guys are having an amazing month. And let's make sure we finish strong. All right, with that, I'm out of here. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owners, before you go, I know sometimes learning your business numbers on audio can be a little difficult. So don't forget to also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Training for Local Small Business Owners, where each week I try to put out different videos that help you understand these business concepts and understanding your business numbers, because sometimes visually can help you understand the concept and make it a little bit easier. Plus, I break them down into smaller chunks, so this way it's easier for you to understand. So once again, don't forget, head on over to YouTube, Training for Local Small Business Owners. Check the show notes. There's also a link there. Now get out there and kick some ass.